because you can't drink and talk at the same time.
Leave the conversation to us and order another beer.
You're listening to Texas's live
Midday
beer-centric show, Liquid Lunch.
Liquid Lunch.
With producer Perry,
Kennedy and Schaumburg. Here are your hosts,
Catherine Contreras,
and Josh Stewart.
Hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hooray for beer!
All right, welcome to Liquid Lunch, everybody. I felt it appropriate, if you're listening on the audio side, to put the TD mic version of the opening. And I know I swore to you I would have a new open.
No one on Facebook or YouTube.
Well, we've got a little bit of TD mic here today.
Well, no one on Facebook or YouTube heard TD
So
mic.
I should have just not said anything?
Yeah.
Is what you're saying? The look behind the curtain was...
But
That's just bad.
Our audio viewers, listeners.
Actually, I don't think I got the audio up until after that part went by. So.
Oh, yeah. So you probably shouldn't have said anything.
So, never mind.
Yeah, never mind.
Welcome, everybody. It's Thursday. Welcome to Liquid Lunch. It's good to see you. If you joined us the previous hour, this is just a little shout out. Liquid Brunch, a little audio thing we're working on, and we did that again today. So Jeremiah Ivy from Fullbrook Ale Works was with us, and
hey
we've been chatting up. Hey, oh, and just like that, Davis Tucker, how are you doing, sir?
I'm doing great. How are you guys doing?
We are doing great. We were just talking to James. He was warming us up, getting us all ready, and then
Did he give you the comedy routine?
Yes, yeah, parts of it. You know what? He left us hanging. He gave us the lead up, but no punchline, and then you just sat down like like a big star, just like.
Well, maybe it's one of those things where I have to guess the punchline.
Yeah, and all right, in 3, 2, and what's the punchline?
I kicked her in the ass.
He kicked her in the ass.
That sounds like that. Did you see Dave Chappelle special?
Yes, exactly. That's where I got that.
Okay, yeah. Well,
I didn't say what Dave Chappelle said.
Yes,
Yeah.
thanks for cleaning it up.
Yeah, no, I enjoyed that. Both of those. That was like a really good. If you're a fan of stand up, that's a really good dynamic to like the big audience to that real small audience.
Right.
It's good. It's good stuff. Well, Davis, thank you so much for joining us today. Of course, everybody.
Happy to be here.
Davis Tucker is the founder of North by Northwest. 2 great locations there in the greater Austin area, north and south, up top and bottom, however you want to look at it. And just brewing beer for a very long time. 30 years of craft beer history right here on the show.
Yeah. Way back in the day. And I don't know for anybody out there who might remember a beer called Pecan Street Lager. That was my first venture back in 1987. We hit the market.
When you say 87, I mean, when you think about like craft beer time, as far as like the evolution of what's gone on in the craft beer world, it's so fast, especially lately in like the last decade.
Does the phrase "the Stone Ages"?
Yeah, Did y'all use stones to grind?
Yeah, we did. We rubbed rocks together to get heat.
You threw hot stones into the.
Well, now you probably are aware of that. That actually does happen in the brewing in Germany. There's some places that actually do that.
Yeah.
Where they heat up their rocks and they caramelize the wort on there, and then they actually throw those rocks into the aging tank and get a little bit of a different character. So
it's like
we've never done that, but maybe we should.
Right? Just go grab some gravel out of the parking lot and see. That's ultimate terroir right there, right?
Right.
What kind of rocks would you use for that? I would imagine it's not like a cinder block or something. It's probably
no. They're using the Germans were using more like what would you like cobblestones, like what you would use for building. Anybody's a cyclist out there, stuff you might see on Paris-Roubaix. These stones that are about probably 6 inches square, but not too big to handle, but large enough to get that caramelization on the outside and still be able to let it dissipate into the beer once it's in the aging tank.
See, look at that. That's a true professional right there, Kennedy.
Yeah.
He didn't know he was going to be talking about stone brewing, stone.
And not even anything to do with those guys in California.
Yeah, right. Completely different. And he's in there just, that's just, it's all up in here. It's just filed away.
Monstrous amounts of useless knowledge. That's right.
So, North by Northwest, you're getting ready. One of the reasons, not the only, but one of the reasons that we did the interview today was you guys are getting ready to get cans out there of your delicious beer to the people of Texas.
Yes, we are. It's something I've wanted to do for quite some time. And once the laws changed a couple of sessions ago to allow us to do that, I knew this is where we wanted to eventually end up. And we weren't in a real hurry to get there. We've been making great beer for 18 years at our North location, and I've been in, like you guys know, craft beer forever. So I was a little slow and steady, but eventually the opportunity came up that we could use some space we had down here at our South location, and it just made sense. We'd looked at the option of building a new facility, and as everybody knows, that's expensive. And so we thought, well, hey, we've got this extra capacity down here. Let's make use of that. And so we've gone out and picked up quite a few more tanks, actually, and more kegs. And then we're also bringing in, obviously, our own canning line, so we can be in control of the whole process. A lot of people these days are using the mobile canning, which is excellent, but it's just not for us anyway, it was just not the best use of our dollars to be paying those guys to do the work when we felt like, and also lets us be in control of the process from step 1 to step 37, we'll say.
Okay. What beers will be canned initially?
Okay, so initially we'll start off with Northern Light. Northern Light is a German-style Helles. It's actually also one of the original beers we ever brewed at North by.
Okay.
So it goes all the way back to 1999 when we first started off. The formulation has changed slightly in that a few years ago we decided that we preferred the, if you will, terroir character that was provided by all German malt. And so we started brewing with all German malts, even in our pale ales and those kinds of things. And it was amazing. We thought, well, is that really what the pale ale's going to like? It loves it. I mean, so the Helles is all German malt, just a hint of the Hallertau and Cascade hops. So it's really nice, super great drinking. As most people know, a Helles is your lightest style of German lager, lighter than a Pilsner. Then the next beer we're doing is called Red Zeppelin.
Okay.
Red Zeppelin is a Irish red ale. It's a little bit over 5% alcohol, but smooth, malty, really drinkable. And something that not very many people are doing. It's always interesting. We've had the Red Zeppelin logo designed for, I bet, a year and a half. And now we see there's a couple of other guys coming out with red ales, and it's like, oh, okay, well, yeah, that's right. But the third beer we're doing is called Zombie Dragon, and it's a Northeast IPA.
Okay.
And it's Northeast in character. I don't go for the whole haze thing, if you will. Haze isn't about flavor. Haze is about appearance. So we're not trying to make it super hazy. It really doesn't impart any flavor characteristics. It's just the visual. It's a big, juicy, hop up front beer. Very little bitterness, residual bitterness in the back end. And so really excellent. It was an accidental choice almost. Originally, we were going to release our Kodiak American IPA style beer. And we did the Zombie Dragon for our 18th anniversary party up at the original location. And it just flew. I mean, it just was crazy how much people loved it. So literally we had to turn around and brew another batch right away. It blew out the doors. And so I was like, wait a minute. I think we're onto something here. And so we immediately went into a design got together with my graphics guy, a guy named Matt Thompson here in town, and said, hey, we want to come up with a can design for a Zombie Dragon, and he was all over it. He loved the name. All of the beers have as you can tell by looking now. I don't know how many of your folks watch versus listen, but anybody who's watching, they can tell I'm not exactly the youngest guy in the beer business. So I do have a bit of a history, but I'm also a bit of an older music aficionado. I like the older stuff. And I like some of the newer stuff, but every one of the beers has musical references on the can label. The obviously Red Zeppelin, you can probably imagine what band there might be references to in there.
Dread Zeppelin, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's it.
Dread
I like those guys.
Yeah.
But that's more of a that Rasta approach might have been more of a dank beer.
Yeah.
So whereas the Red Zeppelin is much more of an English, so that might help you figure out which Zeppelin we're dealing with.
Okay.
But yeah, there's a little story on there that describes the beer, and at the same time ties in a bunch of references to the band and song titles and things like that. Same thing on the Northern Light. The guys from Jack and Meg with see now this is what happens when you get old and your brain stops working.
Tell me about it.
Yeah, but the White Stripes.
Yes.
There's references to that, but there's also the very first line on the can story on the Northern Lights, on the Zombie Dragon is actually a Rob Zombie song title. But on the Northern Lights, it's more about White Stripes did a tour through Canada a few years back and did a whole program, documentary on it. And so I felt like that was something I liked them and their music. And the last line on that story says, "We think Jack and Meg would like it." But there's no specific reference to them as a band, so you kind of have to figure it out.
Yeah.
I guess I'm giving away all these secrets.
No, it's good. It's good. I like it.
But yeah, and then same thing on the Zombie Dragon. We've got the Rob Zombie reference. There's a band that nobody will remember that's under 40 probably, called the Zombies. So there's they have had a song that was very popular back in the 60s, and so there's a few references to their music in there as well, and just some fun things on the can. We want to have a good time with our package design, and at the same time let people know exactly what they're expecting when they get the beer in their hands.
Okay, I have to ask now, with all the music talk, what did you listen to on the way over to the brew pub this morning?
You know what? It's funny now. I listened to absolutely nothing.
You know what? That's
the sounds of silence, which would be another band reference. That, no, it's interesting. I was in our. I don't know if you've ever seen the reefer truck, but it is a refrigerated truck that we use to carry beer up to Denver every year for our 1,400-mile ride that we do. And then it's all about prostate health awareness bike ride. And so I was driving the reefer truck. So the sound system in the reefer truck, if you will, and it literally says reefer on the side. It says the reefer truck, REEFER, and has a little spray underneath it. It's cool. But then has our 1,400 miles symbol on there, and don't fear the finger. So prostate health, don't fear the finger. Everybody gets the point. But what I normally listen to is, and again, dude, you're making me date myself, is NPR. So.
Yeah, no, sometimes you just need a palate cleanser. I mean,
right.
It's like you drink a bunch of hoppy beers. Sometimes you just gotta. I don't know.
The last 2 days ago, the last song I listened to, besides I also have a 19-month-old daughter, so I listen to a lot of Elmo songs. But the last song I listened to, and actually was letting her listen to it because I wanted her to enjoy it, was "Walking on the Moon" by a particular band called the Police.
Yes, that's one of the coolest parts about having kids. I've got 3 daughters that. Like exposing them to like really good music and like just kind of seeing, like listening to it for the first time through them again. That's fun.
Yeah, and she's a big Beatles fan already. So.
Yeah. I started early with the Beatles.
Hey, Davis, we have a viewer that has an idea for your next beer line.
Wait, let me get my notes here.
Yes,
right?
you need your notes for this. This is gold. You do a beer that references the band Styx, and you sell Styx packs.
Genius.
Yes,
I'm all about it.
Selling in Styx packs. Yeah.
So we could actually have maybe on each can in the 6-pack, which would be impossible to do, but would be a different Styx song reference in the Styx pack.
Yeah, in the Styx pack. Yeah.
Right. I like that.
Yeah,
That's somebody from my era, clearly. If they're into Styx.
Can you say who that was?
Actually, it wasn't. He's not from your.
Who was it?
It was Mario. He actually texted me. He didn't put it on Facebook.
Well, he's listening though.
Yeah,
so Mario. Thanks.
Yeah, he's
Thanks,
way
Mario.
over. Another question from one of our viewers: how far is your distribution going to be, and will anything make its way out of Austin?
Not initially. You will have to drive to Austin to get the beer, which isn't a bad thing.
No.
Our goal initially, the phrase I use is I want to go a mile deep and an inch wide. I want to really be a beer for Austin. We've been a beer for Austin for 18 years already. Before, if you go way back to the Pecan Street Lager days, I was the first craft beer in Austin. So we have a ongoing argument with Celis over that. I started before they did, but semantically, since we were a contract brew, they were the first brewery in Austin. I was the first craft beer in Austin.
Yeah.
But yeah. So anyway, no, we will not be in Houston. We will not be in Dallas. I would guess at least for a year.
Okay.
Now, our distributor does push out towards the Hill Country a little bit. It's Brown Distributing, but so they have access to it initially in the cans. Though we're really looking at limiting our distribution area, mostly in terms we want to make sure that we're supplying the stores that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
So we don't want to spread ourselves too thin. The last thing you want to do is for us, we are a new beer on the market as far as being on the shelves.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to be there and then be off the shelf for any given time. First of all, it makes your store very mad. And second of all, it's hard to keep that customer coming back if you were there and then you're gone, you're there and then you're gone. And so we're going to try and manage that really closely starting off.
Okay. That's, I appreciate that. There's a thing. It's cool to get beers in your market, initially. But what I've found, and I've been doing Interbrews, my personal podcast for 6 years, and even just in the 6 years that we've gone from, I think, 5 breweries in Houston to, 40-ish or something.
Houston was way slow on the uptake.
Yeah. I feel like we're getting to our, meeting our pace now because there's a lot of jump. But the thing is, I only have one liver and so much time. I want to try them all. I want to go like with you. Like I want to get, a mile deep. I like when I go, I'm in Austin a lot or in Round Rock a lot. So when I'm in Round Rock, I drink only Austin area beers.
Right. And I think that's where the market's going. I think, and you even have talking with some of my Round Rock brewing friends and my Georgetown brewing friends, they are having difficult time selling in Austin because, as they refer to it, the hyper locality. Mm-hmm. I've been saying that for years, that's where the market's going. Yeah. It's going to keep going local. Mm-hmm. You're going to have, I believe 20 years from now, and I was saying this 10 years ago, so maybe it's only 10 years from now, but that you and I, one of these days, we're going to literally drive maybe a mile to our local brewery. Maybe a couple of miles. Yeah,
I'm actually there now. As far as Wicked Boxer just opened like a mile from my front door.
Wicked Boxer.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah.
All
It's yeah. So they're getting it's getting really hyper local. But I like it because it's interesting to go see what's going on around.
Right.
But then there's also. Okay, sorry. Go ahead, David.
No. I was saying, last legislative session, I forget who I was having the conversation with, but I said, if we could make it illegal to sell beer except for in the county it's brewed, I think it'd be phenomenal in terms of for the consumer. Mm-hmm. Nobody in the business will want that, but it's for me. I mean, as I've said for years too, I love drinking Colorado beer in Colorado. Mm-hmm. Do I care about drinking Colorado beer in Austin, Texas? For the most part, 99.9999999%. No.
Yeah.
I don't. Coloradans go great. Hey, go at it, Coloradans. Support your local beer.
Yeah.
Texans, if you're a Texan, you live in Texas, you live in Austin, you better be drinking local beer. Now, if you can't find something you particularly like, I'd go tell your local brewer. Yeah. And get them on it.
To not be able to find something you like, though. I mean, there's just so many good beers being brewed out there. I mean, you're a great example. When you look at your lineup at both of your locations, your range is just, it's phenomenal. I mean, you got what's the beer you brew with the prickly pears that?
That's our it's our prickly pear saison.
Yes.
And it, you know what? I think it's on right now. Let me see. Is it on right now? It is not, but it was on at the North Store just last week. Prickly pear is an interesting because its season is you're coming into the winter when the prickly pears are coming into full fruition. Mm-hmm. So you're brewing this pink lighter style beer that
Yeah.
you're going into winter with.
Yeah.
But yeah, we also did a Goza that was pink, and that was very popular at. It was Pink Cashmere was the name of the beer, and very popular at the GABF.
Yeah, the prickly pear saison was on the what was the show on Aura with Mufasa. What was the name of that show? Beer Geeks? Was it Beer Geeks?
Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's if it's still you can go find it and watch. It's a great episode to watch. I think it was my favorite episode.
Cool. Well, it's a beautiful color. You know, it's just this really, and that's what some things I find interesting. I have a reputation of probably being maybe less adventurous than others in the craft beer industry because I got started so early and was more traditionally oriented. But my brewers, thank goodness, have nudged me along over the years, and so we do a lot of really fun stuff and interesting things. And the prickly pear was one. They actually go out and harvest the prickly pears just right outside of town.
Yeah.
Bring them back in and use them in the beer.
Yeah, it was cool that Kennedy. They have to wear like Kevlar gloves. You know, when you're going out there, so that you don't get all prickly peared up. You know, cactuses.
Yes, exactly.
I mean, you knew that, right?
Do you know what the prickly pears are called in Spanish, or at least what they call them in Mexico?
No, I don't.
Tunas.
Yes, that's
Tunas.
right. That is exactly right. Yeah.
They called their tunas.
So you could call that a tuna beer.
Tuna beer, yeah. Or,
Tuna, cerveza tuna.
Okay.
Cerveza de tuna. Yeah,
Yeah,
there you go.
Does it? Oh.
It doesn't sound very appetizing, guys. I have to say.
That's the sticks. That was a hit.
Yeah, you can tune a piano, but you can't tune a fish. That's right. That was REO Speedwagon. I'm sorry.
Oh yes, Kennedy, you're a big fan of that genre, right?
REO Speedwagon?
Yeah. I mean, they were around when you were in college.
Well, you know, I try, but I just can't fight that feeling.
I know.
See, that's the new REO Speedwagon. You want the
I
old
can't stop
REO.
that feeling.
You want to go back to the
anymore.
Double Live album back in '77 to get the good stuff.
No, it is good stuff. I don't. It's just, I'm going to sound old. I'm getting up.
Because you're so old.
I am. Well,
Yeah.
37. I'm not a spring chicken. But let's.
You're pretty springy to me.
But the music now kind of. I can't find a lot that I'm just into. At least popular stuff. I don't.
I know. I get.
So what's that guy's name? Sam Smith.
I don't know. Is he what style? I don't.
He's a singer. He's a singer. I guess you'd say kind of singer songwriter, but it's pop.
Okay.
But yeah, there's some good stuff out there now. I fall over it every once in a while, but yes, I'm in your camp for the most part.
Yeah, I like Sturgill Simpson and some of those guys, like Chris Stapleton.
Sturgill's great.
Yeah.
But he's a new guy doing old style music.
Yes, he's very throwback.
What about your man crush, Chris Stapleton?
They were together on Saturday Night Live a couple weeks ago, and I was like, they need to. It's really like new era Waylon and Willie kind of deal. So
Right.
it's not. They're good. I mean, they've both got a style I think it's a timeless style. But they should probably tour and do an album together, and tour through Austin
that'd be great.
and Houston. That would be nice. Kennedy, we've kind of missed the boat a little bit on our. Davis, I'm sorry. We have this segment we do on the show,
and we do have a question for Davis.
Can we do the open to our segment first, and then
which is also a question? Yeah.
Is it all part of it? All right, well, let's do that.
Yeah,
and
ready?
Davis, if you've got anybody around that if you want to partake of a beverage with us, totally up. We'll all right. Let's do our open, and then
let's do it.
All right, here we go.
It's time for your favorite segment and mine here on Liquid Lunch. This is
What you drinking?
All right. So what you drinking today, Kennedy? What are we drinking right now? I'm just
okay. So we were drinking a lemon vanilla radler from Collective Brewing Project. I stopped there about a month ago.
Okay.
On my way back from Kansas. I've always wanted to go. This is like one of my favorite breweries.
Yeah.
Because, I'm a big fan of the sour beers. So we had it for the pre-show.
Mm-hmm.
It was interesting.
Yeah. No, here, pour some more of that because I drank it all.
Yeah.
Davis,
so this is let me get this straight. It's a lemon vanilla
yeah
radler.
That's the name of it. Lemon vanilla radler. And
And
honestly,
it's
I wish I had more information on this beer. But
so is it? I mean, Radler would indicate that it's been mixed with some sort of juice, apple juice, lemonade, or
Yeah, probably a lemonade. Something.
Shandy is apple. Usually a Radler is going to be lemonade, but is it? It doesn't. If that's it, there, it doesn't look very lemonade-y.
No, it's not. It's what you call that, like a rosé type. I don't know. It's not a. I don't know. I don't get.
I'm looking it up right now. Well,
I do get the vanilla.
Do you get what's? Tell me about are there some vanilla notes in there? Do you get sort of a?
Yeah, you get kind of that round vanilla, like on the backside. You don't really get it up.
But not a. Remember those old lemon cream cookies?
Mm-hmm.
You can get at the grocery. You know, we're like usually about 99 cents for 200 of them.
Mm-hmm.
Has it got that character to it, that lemon and cream thing going, or?
No, it's tart, but then you get the kind of after the tartness kind of subsides, you get a bit of that round lemon or round vanilla type.
Is it a barrel aged induced vanilla, or is it a?
I don't know. Are you looking it up?
I'm looking it up.
So just to give you guys an idea of sort of, I told you I was a little more traditional.
Yeah.
The beer I have chosen here today is Northern Light. So we can, I don't know, how do you cheers?
Oh, yeah.
So
Clink.
So the style is a Shandy / Radler. It's
I like that. That looks great.
it's noted as a Cascade hop Kolsch blended with Petite Golden Sour with fresh lemons and vanilla.
Okay.
Interesting.
Yeah, it is interesting. There's a lot going on. A lot of waves.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. A lot of waves.
So it sounds like it'd be a very mild on the sour scale.
Yeah,
Yeah.
There's a little up front, but then, yeah, it doesn't.
Kind of dissipates.
It doesn't like
Yeah.
hold your jowls.
Right. Don't clench your teeth after you finish it.
Yeah, no, it doesn't like clench your, like hold them hostage. Whereas like you.
Yeah, that's the kind of we've done several sours at North by, and we did one called the Raven. It was a blackberry sour, very very mild on the sour edge, but really nice blackberry character. It was a black ale with blackberries and then soured, and really 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 nice. I tend to lean towards those that are the hint of sour as opposed to the full on, acidic.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna take the enamel off your teeth sours.
Those.
But that was something I had to adjust to too. It's like sours, like what is this sour thing? Somebody's making a purposeful sour beer.
Uh-huh.
Well, I've been spending my whole life trying to make damn good clean beer, and now you're coming along and actually purposely screwing it up. What?
Yeah, it's.
No, but I think it's actually obviously grown into a pretty good segment of the market and does make life more interesting. So
Yes, I think what you speak to is, and I came up with this phrase the other day, like the Northern Lights that you're drinking now. It's like I call a wraparound beer, where you start. That would, some people consider that a gateway beer, but
Sure.
and you kind of make the progression through, malty ales and stouts and that sort of thing, and then onto the hoppiest of hoppy beers and then maybe into sours. But then for me, initially, coming back around to pilsners and hellas and lighter, more nuanced beers, you really you really kind of really appreciate, just the subtlety and the flavor of all those styles, the traditional styles, like a hellas or a pilsner or something like that. So that was, I don't know if I coined the phrase, but wraparound beer. That was
wraparound. No, that's actually, I think that's an excellent description, because I think that was certainly what's happened to me in my beer drinking life.
Mm-hmm.
I am much more a pilsner drinker now than I used to be. Don't know why. I used to be a hophead right there with the best of them. Really loved, the monster hops, and back in the day, the monster hops was, barely getting to what is considered a low level hopped IPA now.
Mm-hmm.
But as I've gone on in life, I just tend to really appreciate. And even in a traditional German Bock, versus something where, and those just don't really move that well in Texas. But a light beer like us, or like say our friends over at Hops and Grain,
Mm-hmm.
with their river beer,
Oh yeah.
Pearl Snap at ABW. I mean, those guys were all of us, really good friends, and we've been in the industry together, since they got started. I've known them, and we've worked well together on stuff. And so to see them putting out those kinds of beers that are more, if you want to say, accessible, I think is great. And it broadens the horizons for everybody in the market. And I think that's a positive thing for sure.
Well, it definitely speaks to our climate here in Texas. I mean, there's only so much time for those huge beers, and a Pilsner that is just crisp and cuts through the humidity, especially like in Houston. You got humidity to deal with. I mean, yes, Austin gets hot, but Houston just kind of the weather lays on your face, and you need those beers. I think it's a bit. I'm not gonna speak for everybody, but it seems when you look at the youngins out there, those whippersnappers, they don't understand and don't appreciate the groundwork that you did. As far as when you talk about bringing back those traditional styles and making them something that people know and see, and we take for granted now. But
right. Well, and I think that while I appreciate you saying that, I don't know that they should particularly appreciate what I did. I mean, it's it's not really they're living in their world. I lived in mine. I'm still living in mine. But I do think that it's important that I think they kind of see where we came from. I think the younger guys, particularly, especially the brewers. So it's not really up to the or the responsibility of the consumer to appreciate where we came from, but it's certainly the responsibility of the brewers these days to appreciate where the craft beer world came from, and to understand. Can I use the F-bomb on the radio?
Yes.
Fucking A, man. We can do it.
All right.
We don't censor.
We use the radio. That's me being old too.
No, that's cool.
We're on the radio here. It's a podcast.
Yeah, real quick. Catherine, our lovely co-host. Hey, what's up? And Davis, the birthday girl today.
Happy birthday to you.
Ooh, thank you.
Join us.
So yeah, but I say, to all these new guys, hey, make me a really great Pilsner. If you can make me a really great Pilsner, I'm going to respect what you can do as a brewer. If you're putting out stuff that's just, I use the phrase whack-ball, odd beer, because you think that's what's going to attract your customer, it'll get some attraction. But what's going to keep you alive in the long run is if you're a skilled enough brewer to make a great Pilsner or a great light style beer. And, and as I follow that on with, so guys, if you're new to the business or you've been doing it a year or so, for me and the guys that have been doing it for more than 10 years, and sometimes for me, 30 years, it's our life. We've dedicated our life to it. We've built our life around it. Don't fuck it up.
That's true. I mean, it's more accessible now, especially when you talk about hyper-local, smaller systems. It's more accessible for people to jump into, I think. And you've seen it used to be, like, I can't even imagine what the landscape was like when you started in 88, you said? 87. April
of 87 is when my Pecan Street Lager hit the Austin market.
There was really no frame of reference. Who do you model your business plan after?
Nobody. Yeah. No, the beer was modeled after beers that I had over in Germany. I just loved the beer over there. But there was a beer actually called New Amsterdam in New York that's no longer around. But it was an amber lager, and so I wanted to do something different. And so we did the amber lager like he had done up in New York. And so that's what Pecan Street Lager was, this amber, very much in the realm of even a Sam Adams. We were a bigger version of, say, a Sam Adams, a little bit hoppier, but not a bunch. You were dealing with an education level in the public that was like, well, craft beer, what the hell is that? And so, that's what we were up against. I mean, I like to say back in the day, it was hard to get a tap handle because nobody knew what we were doing. Now it's hard to get a tap handle because everybody and their dog is doing it.
Yeah.
So, and it's true, but I mean, that style of beer was, we were noble hops. We wanted well-respected hops in our beer.
Yeah.
That's all we used. We were an all malt, and just even being an all malt beer back then. Oh, and the beer was called Pecan Street Lager. Now today, if I had pecans in it, you'd go, oh yeah, no big deal. Back then, that was probably the biggest question I got. Is there pecans in it? Why would you put nuts in your beer? You say, well, I don't. It's called Pecan Street because it's named after Old 6th Street. Yada, yada, yada.
I love that you use that Texas twang every time.
Well, yeah, you know, I grew up in South Texas, and we don't get an accent down there, so I'd like to bring it on every once in a while.
It's perfect. It's perfect.
No offense to those people who actually have that.
No,
accent.
but those are those people. I know.
No, but
That's a good, you know, that's a good Texan accent, and they should be proud of it.
yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I think even those people with that accent now are more educated to good beer. There's just so much. There's just good beer everywhere. You know, how can you not?
There is. I mean, that's what's you know that's the beauty of what's happened in the craft market. I mean, again, when I started 3 beers on the shelf, me, Sierra Nevada, and some beers out of Dallas called Collin County Gold and Black Gold, which were brewed by Don Thompson, who's my head of brewery operations now. And Don was the first guy to start a microbrewery in the Southwest in 1982. And so anyway, you know, that getting people to understand what the heck we were doing was the biggest issue. Now with the proliferation of beers, and you know, you had 3 beers on the shelf when I went into HEB in 1987 that were craft beer. Now you've got at least 300 beers that are on the shelf in HEB. So you've got a whole different market. You know, people talk a lot about, you know, is this proliferation going to confuse the consumer? And it's like, I think we're getting back to that hyper-local thing. What you're going to see is it's going to get weeded out. There will be very hard for a Colorado beer to come in here and have any kind of impact now. California's the same thing. Even I would say a Houston beer coming into Austin, unless you've got something special,
Right.
you know, that's why, you know, even so North by, when North by ends up, you know, coming to Houston, I think it's going to be a hard row to hoe. And I don't have a real interest in trying to push my beer into Houston.
Yeah.
If people want it, great, but it's not a priority for me at all.
Yeah. Well, what would be what are the options? Like if you want, you know, to pick your spots, say like if I owned a bar, which, you know, someday I want to own my own neighborhood spot where I, you know, my little place.
Hey,
right?
I'll be on the stool on the corner.
Okay. What is the like if somebody wanted to do like an Austin night, like Catherine, you know, if they do like Austin style tacos, Catherine, that you love.
We're not going to do that.
She's in San Antonio, Dave.
Let's just keep it to beer.
It's a sensitive topic with the whole.
Well, I think that's where he's going. You're going to say if someone did an Austin night with Austin beers in Houston.
Yes.
Is that where we're going?
Yeah, I was gonna. Yeah, if somebody wanted to do.
Who are the beers I would pick?
Well, okay, yeah, let's do that. But I mean, one, is that available? Could you do that? Can you, like, if somebody said for, you know, a week or however long this beer lasts, can you do that? Like to distribute like 1 or 2 beers for.
You'd have to find a very willing distributor to work with, because distributors have territories.
Yeah.
And if I could find it, let's say maybe there's somebody small, maybe there's a small little distributor over there that say, yeah, sure, we'll sign a 1-week contract with you.
Okay.
You know, and it goes away at the end of that week. What happens is it's called franchise law, and we won't get into the politics of all this. But you end up with franchise law. Once a distributor has distributed your beer, they own your ass.
Yeah.
And it's unfortunate, but that's just the way it is. And so you'd have to have a very well-written agreement that didn't let somebody control my product, that I didn't want to control my product. And I don't, let's say you end up with one of the big guys over there who was willing to do it. I guarantee you when I came back to him, you know, he'd say, no, you don't you even think of going with any other distributor in Houston. I now have you. And so that would be difficult. It wouldn't be impossible. And if you can find that kind of relationship, that'd be great. I mean, it would be now, if a bar, when you open your bar, you get what's called a cartage permit.
Okay.
So a cartage permit allows you to pick up alcohol from one location and take it to another. So you get your cartage permit and you come to Austin. It doesn't say how far you can cart it. You can cart it all the way from Austin to Houston. Okay. And you can put it on in your bar in Houston.
Oh.
So that would be the thing to do. You would just get your cartage permit and you'd come to Austin and you'd, you know, say to my distributor, hey, I want to get X number of, you know, cases or kegs or whatever of North by products, and throw it in the back of your refrigerated pickup and haul it back to Houston.
Okay. All right. I'm glad. Okay. I'm writing that down, Catherine.
Yeah. Good job.
Yeah. So, you know, when we do the Austin, you know, Austin night at Working Title Stews Brews, or what, I don't know.
There's a working title?
It's working title. Working title.
Okay.
You always have to have a working title.
Yeah. I don't think that'll stick.
Have you never heard Stews Brews before, Catherine? He talks about it all the time. Like all the time.
Everything is stew. So I probably have heard it. But
it's the studio.
Stew to everything, yeah.
So could we at the restaurant at North by, could we do a Stu's Brew Stew?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, absolutely.
We'll do something with a nice dark ale and something really rich and full. And,
Yes,
Yeah.
and you can do it twice and do a Stu's Brews stew too.
there you go.
Wow.
Absolutely. Yeah.
And then
Just rolls right off the tongue. Real easy
Yes,
for
it
people to
does.
order.
yeah, and you could do it at the other location. Oh no, people will ask, "Are you doing Stu's Brews two?
Bruce.
Brew. as
Stu's Brews
well.
stew two? Anyway, yeah,
Very nice.
I think we're onto something.
yeah.
Exactly. $1 billion.
Some people play fantasy football. I play fantasy bar owner.
Yeah.
That's mine.
You know what? I'm more interested in your game than theirs.
That's as far as I need to write some stuff down.
Yeah.
Well, yeah, you got to keep notes. Keep notes.
Yeah.
The problem with me is, I write stuff down or I put it in my phone, and then I forget to go back and read it.
Yeah.
Yes, I do the same thing. The problem with me is that I already have businesses, and then I'm always thinking about new ones.
Right.
And then I start researching. I'm like, what am I doing?
I got a movie for you guys. It's called Night Shift.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Night Shift with Henry Winkler.
Yes.
And
I don't
Michael
do that.
Keaton.
so yeah,
They look-
Michael
work in a
Keaton,
morgue,
the
yeah.
guy. Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, edible paper.
Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Yeah. So,
So, okay, if you were going to start from scratch today, Davis, and put together a tap list,
oh wow. Okay.
and what's the
Tap list. Okay.
what's the perfect tap list, like number wise? How many's too many? What's that wheelhouse of, like, what do you think?
I honestly think if you've got between 30 and 40 is all you would ever need.
Okay.
30, I just think you can curate a great list with 30 taps. You
Okay.
don't have to have. And I'm a big believer in cellaring some stuff when you get some of the big guys, like our Holiday Ale or some other big stouts. We got our Splendor Cat that's 10%.
Mm-hmm.
So it's an imperial stout, and then when you can cellar those kind of things. So I think you can curate a great list with 30 taps. If you go 40 taps, because you don't want to be, in my mind, you don't want to be known for the place with the most taps. You want to be known for the place with the best taps.
Yeah.
So if you could do 30, that gives you an opportunity. And I will tell you, but my wife would say it's impossible for me to tell a short story. But I will try and tell you a short story about I own another place called Red's Porch, and Red's is a bar, restaurant. We say it's half Cajun, half Tex-Mex, half Southern, because we Southerners aren't very good with our math. But we have 30 taps at one and 40 taps at another. And when I opened up the second one and we had 40 taps, and take no offense, Texas craft brewers, we started off with all Texas craft beer, and it was very difficult for me to find 40 taps, 40 beers, specific Texas craft beers that I thought were worthy of going on our tap list. And that was unfortunate because, first of all, I couldn't get everybody because they could only get what was available in Austin distributors. But so there are a lot of great beers in Dallas and Houston that I couldn't even get a hold of. But the ones that were available in Austin, I ended up with 3 taps from Austin Beer Works. I ended up with 2 taps from Hops and Grain. I ended up with actually 3 taps from St. Arnold, because I ended up with 3 taps from our friends out at Live Oak, Chip and his beers. Because I ended up with, believe it or not, 6 taps from North by. How did that happen? I don't know. But so, and then as time's gone on, we've curated the list a little bit, but it's, you want great beer on your list. You don't care about, I shouldn't say we don't care about the volume, but you want it, whatever volume you have, you want them all to be in the style they're in. You want them to be the best you can possibly find. And then you start throwing in your mixes, your sours and things like that. You don't need 5 sours on tap. If you have 5 sours on tap, you're probably selling the same amount of sours as you would if you had 2 on tap.
So, okay.
So, and I think, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say a brew pub, like a traditional brew, not just with the brew pub license, but as North by is a brew pub, restaurant and brewery. When you do tap list and your menu, do you start? Did you start with the beer and then decide what you want to add as far on the menu, like based on what the beer was there, and then pair it, or did you start with just what's good and then you brew some beer to kind of go with it, or what was the mindset?
Yes.
Okay.
We did both actually. We kind of had a menu style that we knew we wanted to do with the name North by Northwest. We knew we wanted to do sort of if you want to say, a protein heavy menu, but we also wanted to do fish on the menu. So we knew we were going to be doing some lighter beers, some Pilsners, the Northern Light. We knew we wanted to do things like heavier, say if you want to say like stews or stroganoffs, things like that. So we knew we wanted to match that with our Okanagan Black Ale. So and then we actually used that in the beer. We've now been using the Splinter Cat Imperial Stout in our stroganoff, and it's phenomenal. But so yeah, it was a combination of both. We kind of said, okay, what kind of foods do we want to do? We know what beers we want to do, and then really, I guess you could say it was sort of the meshing and the melding of those two things that happened over time. And I'm trying to. I don't think that we've ever. Well, yeah, we have made specific food items because of a beer we have, but we've never made a specific beer because of the food item we have.
Catherine, what would you pair with a stuffed crust pizza?
All of it. Just keep it coming.
Please,
Yeah.
Catherine.
I just got back from my son's school, and he was rewarded with a stuffed crust pizza, pepperoni pizza, but they don't have anything on tap there, which is so dumb.
That's so bogus.
Right?
Yeah.
I'm like, trust me, these teachers and kids definitely need a beer. Just
How old's your son?
He's 10.
10?
Yeah.
I think that's legal in Germany. I know it's legal in Mexico.
Right? Listen,
I know it's legal in Mexico.
yeah. They're already crazy, and kids already act drunk. I don't think it would make a difference.
I don't. A beer in the middle of the day?
Yeah.
I don't know. You guys maybe can give me some advice. I've got my 19-month-old daughter, and her nickname is Max. But Max she loves beer. She loves wine.
Yeah.
She will come and stick her full fist in my beer, and then stick that hand in her mouth.
Yeah.
And she literally. So this is the great thing about it. She does that. The first time she does it, I'm drinking our Pilsner Porch Time from North by, and she sticks her hand down in my beer and she sticks it in her mouth. And she goes,
Yeah. Smart girl.
It's like great. And then so my wife and I are having a fire. We call them fire dates. They have live in an old house that's been redone over on the east side in Austin, and not the cool east side. We're in the northeast hood east side. But anyway, we have a couple of glasses of wine, and Max comes over and sticks her hand in the wine glass and does the same thing. And then I'm like, should I be worried about this child?
She just knows what she likes. That's okay.
That's right. It was good wine. So.
Does she take a nap afterwards? That's what I'm always curious. Like, is this gonna knock them out?
Well, it was just about her bedtime. So yes, in fact, in that case, she did. But yeah. But at least there's no opium in the house to help her nap, so that's good.
Yeah.
Well, good. That's good. That's really good.
I mean, just in case. Yep. Nope.
You have to draw the line somewhere.
You do.
Somewhere.
There's standards.
Yeah.
There's standards.
No needles. I just say no needles.
No needles. Yeah. Well, yeah. No, she hates needles. That kid, you're trying to give her a shot? No way. Shots of whiskey, different thing altogether.
Yeah. Well, gotta start young.
We do. I have sent multiple pictures out to the different brewers around town, and I've got a great photo that I sent to Chip where she's wearing a Live Oak Pills box on her head, and then Black Thunder can, literally because kids love that cool metal against their lips, right?
Yeah.
And so she's got her Black Thunder can from ABW that she's looks totally like she's drinking it. So.
Perfect.
That's cool.
Perfect.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I've had my daughters since they were little bitty. Like when I homebrew, they'll be out there in the garage with me and throwing in the hops. And
nothing better smelling than the brewing a beer.
Yeah,
that is when I was running into the restaurant today to come talk to you guys. It's like I did just take that second to appreciate that the smell of that malt coming out of the brew house. I'm just like, oh my god, that's the best smell ever.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Until streaming, until streaming allows for smells. It's we haven't reached our potential as humanity,
My
we
kids
should just.
They go to school and they tell their teachers how much mommy loves beer all the time, and I'm like, please stop doing that.
Well, hey what? That's their problem.
Yeah. I walked upstairs today before the show. My girls, all their rooms are upstairs, and I walked up and there was a piece of paper on there. There's a couch up there, and my oldest daughter Reese was working on some sort of presentation for school, and it had 4 words: barley, hops, yeast, water, by Reese. And I was like, I'm so proud right now, but
I am a good parent.
yes, I've done something right, but
That's right.
I don't
Absolutely.
know if everybody's going to understand this one, but
Everyone's going to be on the same page.
let's just see where this one goes. So
Just let it fly.
no, man, it's
So now I did want to mention before I forget, because God knows, you get on in your years, you forget things. But I don't know, did you guys talk with James at all about our WeFunder on the canning line?
a little bit, but we were going to wait till you got here to really delve into the nuance.
So I did want to. Because he dropped down our mock cans, so here we can.
Oh, look at that!
Oh,
Oh, beautiful.
Put the Red
nice.
Zeppelin there.
Yeah.
That's gorgeous.
And then here we go, our
The zombie dragon.
little zombie dragon there.
Yeah.
And I'll get you the eyes up close.
Ooh. Oh, look at that! Yeah, they
That's
look.
very Game of Thrones.
Yeah, they delve. Ooh, yeah.
Did you guys ever see Mystery Science Theater on SCTV?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Of course.
Sorry.
I love it.
I entertain myself. And here we go,
Northern Light,
the
the
Northern
Hellas.
Lights. You can see,
Very
yeah, the Hellas. Yeah.
Nice.
And each one of these, like I said, has its little story on the back. And down at the bottom of each can, there's a little thing that talks about. It says Don Thompson, who's our head of brewery operations, the OG 1982. He's definitely the OG, having done craft in 1982. And then it says Davis Tucker, the newbie, 1987. So, but we try and poke a little fun at ourselves, and at the same time, let people know that there's a lot of tradition going on here. We've got, we were founded in 1999 from North by, so we obviously put that on there. And our slogan's always been "Go forth and drink local." So it's that whole thing about supporting, support your local brewer. I mean, that's been a phrase forever and ever and ever. But so one of the things we did with the WeFunder campaign, I took a cue from several guys that I talked to who have done different crowdfunding. You end up creating a very loyal drinking crowd. Even it's really interesting. We've had guys that have invested $10,000 in the WeFunder campaign. We've had guys that have invested really bizarre number, $118. Can anyone help me with that? I don't.
What they had.
Yeah.
I hope it's not all they got.
Hold on. Maybe it was January 18th that they put it on there, and they were just, or maybe that's their lucky numbers for the
Maybe, who knows?
for the lottery.
So they're playing the lottery there.
Yeah. Something.
Yeah. So the WeFunder campaign just started up about a week ago, and so we are raising funds to we've been self-funding the down payments and all those things on the canning line, and then we decided to do the WeFunder literally as a way of including, building the North by family of folks who are interested in us and interested in what's going on, and also would be ambassadors, if you will, to the public at large about North by. I was always concerned when we decided to go into cans that, we've been around a long time. It's hard to be the cool kid when you're 18 years old. But it's been great. The response has been phenomenal. And our distributor was like, no, don't even worry about it. You guys, you've got 18 years of great beer. The fact that you're there and the fact that you're coming out in cans, that makes you the new kid in cans. So for us, they said, don't even flinch. Don't worry about it. And, the stores are the Specs of the world, the HEBs of the world have, they're all over it. So I've been really, really happy with that.
Well, and you mentioned Chip earlier. They did a similar thing. They'd been around early, for a long time.
Yeah.
And then when they finally came, canned their stuff, it's gangbusters. It's like, well, it's about time. And that's kind of how I feel about your beers
too. I'm very
too.
happy with that because I love, Chip and I go way, way back. Chip's wife and I actually sang in the opera chorus together, which is a whole other story.
Wow.
The Austin Opera Chorus. So things you do for fun.
Yeah.
But so anyway, when I was so glad when they came out with cans because I love their beers. They do a great job. And so I was happy to be able to get to take it home. And that's honestly the same thing with North by going into cans. It's the same exact thing. I mean, you guys are familiar with the German phrase Gemütlichkeit. So, which means a sense of well-being.
Yes.
And that's always been my goal with my restaurants and the brew pub is I hope when people leave my place that they leave feeling just a little bit better than they did when they came in. And that's not just because of the beer, but because of the experience overall.
Yeah.
And so that's the same thing that I hope when somebody goes to the store and they see North by Beer, they're like, oh, cool, North by Beer. All right, I remember, I know those guys, they've been around, and they take it home, and when they open the refrigerator, the same thing. And it's true for me when I open the refrigerator right now and I see I've got Chips beer in there. I've got St. Arnold's beer in there. I have to give my long time, I don't want to say old, my longtime friend over at St. Arnold's a shout out about their 5 o'clock pills. I think it's one of the better Pilsner beers in America, if you will.
Yeah.
And then you got to go, Swifty Peeps over there at ABGB. I mean, those guys are making, I think, just, Brian Peters, if I could kill him and steal his talent, I would do it.
Does it work that way? I don't know.
Well, there's a seance in there somewhere. I'm not sure.
All right.
Yeah.
I might have to write that. I might have to write that into the script of my. I have this whole idea for a craft beer horror movie.
Here we go again.
I'm not going to go into the details, but I'm just saying that might be a. Sorry.
Go ahead. We'll give you this one. Go ahead.
Okay, so he's the head brewer because he brews with heads. David,
I got it. Yeah, we got it.
All right. I won't.
See, you know what I call those?
What?
That there is a dad joke.
Yeah.
Yeah. That is exactly what it is. That whole movie is a dad joke.
But dad jokes are the best.
Yeah.
Well, yes, they
Just
are.
ask me, I'll tell you.
That's true.
Anyway.
For those who aren't dads, as I can tell by looking at you. My wife has the same reaction. It's like, oh God, would you please just stop?
Here we go.
Yeah.
I'm going to pat myself on the back real quick because this is one of those moments where you're like, okay, so guy at work comes out. I grew up in Arkansas, Davis, so he was talking about.
Ooh, I'm sorry to hear that.
Well, I moved here.
Shoes right now.
No, actually, I'm not flexible enough, but I'm not wearing shoes right now.
He is not.
But,
Trust me, he's not.
it's how I keep close to my roots. But all right, I have all my teeth though. They call me uppity. But anyway, so I was at
We
work.
just have the upper teeth.
Yeah. But okay, so I was at work, right? And this guy's talking about Texas football, and he looks at me and goes, "Hey, Josh, is football big in Arkansas?" And without missing a beat, I was like, "Nah, they're about the same size, about yay big." It's like, ugh. But then I played it super cool, and I just turned back around to my computer and started typing, even though it was locked. But still, I was like, I knew it. It's like the walk off.
It landed.
It's all
It
in
landed.
delivery.
It
So you'd to drop the mic.
Yes, it was. Yeah, it was. It felt so good. I was like,
Yeah.
because everybody laughed. They couldn't help it. My favorite is when you do a dad joke and somebody tries to not and they can't help it. That's the single most satisfying moment in life.
The thing about me, my dad jokes, my bad puns, which aren't bad, by the way.
No, of course not.
The more I
Uh-oh.
Okay, sorry, Dave. It's the Skype
Yeah,
locked up.
Yeah, can you please
I
repeat
cut
that?
out, probably on purpose. No, I said the bigger the groan, the more I enjoy it.
Oh.
If I can, the more, and particularly my wife, who doesn't appreciate this, if she's insanely, intensely annoyed by my particular pun or joke,
Yeah,
I know I've hit the mark.
I know.
Then you're the perfect parent because nothing makes me more excited than my 16-year-old wanting to die because I said something awful.
There you go.
It's the best. It's the best.
Yeah.
Discomfort, just maybe as good as laughter. I don't know.
The best.
Well, it's like on Monsters Inc. They talk about it powering. They get the power from it was the scares, but then they went to laughs. But
Right.
uncomfortable annoyance is probably right up there with laughs. It's like
That's mother fuel.
it's the E85 of
Yeah.
I don't
There you go.
emotional.
And if I can get why can't you be like other moms? That's perfect.
Oh, well, yeah, and that's when you just should say, I am like other moms.
Trust me. Yeah.
Other moms are wondering why they're not more like me.
Me, that's right. That's even better.
Yeah.
So now, so what is that in your chalice there, sir?
I'm not even sure. It's a hoppy something something. What do we got here?
All right. So this was on my recent trip to Kansas. at from Central
Is,
Standard.
Is Dorothy anywhere in this picture?
Yeah.
Central Standard Brewing from Wichita, Kansas.
No, she's not. We're not in Kansas anymore, Dave.
It's called Hop Theory, and it's a hoppy sour beer.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
Yeah, it's really good.
It is pretty good. What kind of do we know what kind of hops are in it? Did we look that up?
Well, if you can give me a second,
Oh,
I'll let you know.
okay. That's good. No, it's good.
Is it on the fruity side?
Yes.
The resonant side?
No, it's fruity. It's citrusy,
Okay.
but not that sour. I would imagine IBU is higher than the
Acidity?
Acidity, yes. So, but no, pretty good. Because I always, real super dank IPAs. I don't know that they mesh well with sours, but the fruity IPAs for sure.
Oh yeah, I think it's interesting. I mean, with the Northeast IPA style, sort of really sort of eclipsing anything that's going on in the hop world these days. I think that's where you end up a lot of fruit. Even going to the point of getting tropical in its character. I think sometimes you even hear coconut, and there actually are some hops these days that impart coconut, and it's just amazing what is coming out. I mean, one of my new, if you say, favorite hops these days is the Hallertau Blanc.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know if anybody's familiar with that, but it's basically the noble hop, the Hallertau hop, but it has been hybrided with other hops to the point where it actually imparts this acidic white wine character in the background. And so you're moving towards the acidity of the sours without jumping the shark, if you will.
Yeah.
And so I enjoy that. But the first time I had it, my guys, we do a beer called House Party, HAUS Party. And it was a Pilsner with the Hallertau Blanc hop. And so Don Thompson, head of brewery operations, hands it to me and he goes, "Oh, try it. It's great. Pilsner's fantastic." So I'm thinking in my old brain, my traditional brain, I'm thinking Pilsner, oh, great. It's going to be like something I'd had in Germany, yada, yada, yada. And so I try it, and it's like, I'm smelling it. It's like, I said, "What the hell is this?" And he goes, "Well, what do you mean? What do you mean? You don't like it?" And I said, "Well, you said it's a Pilsner." And he said, yeah, it's a Pilsner. I said, "Well, why does it taste like white wine to me?" And then he tells me, "Oh, it's made with this Hallertau Blanc hop." And then immediately, once I knew what was bringing in that flavor, it was like, "Oh, yeah, this thing's great." But it wasn't until then. I mean, I had this very strict idea in my mind of what a Pilsner was.
Tasting,
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, which is, it's interesting when you talk about people's perception and how much it has to do with what you actually taste. I mean, if you tell somebody, "Ooh, I taste peanut butter in this," I can almost guarantee you, no matter what's in there, they're going to go, "Yeah, I do think I get some peanut butter out of there." So I can really, we do quality control every other Monday at North by Northwest. And so at 10 a.m. on a Monday, we're all drinking beer.
Which is, you're doing it right.
It's a tough job.
Yeah.
But we're always very careful. Everybody takes notes. We're trying different things. Everybody takes notes, and nobody says anything until everybody has already, taken their sips, done their what we call hyper tasting, which is a way of tasting the beer and then holding your mouth closed and breathing out through your nose, so you sort of get all the aromas and flavors at the same time, and then comment, because otherwise you will so easily influence somebody's impression of it.
Yeah, no, that's why whenever Kennedy comes up to me and says, "Here, try this," I never do. So
that's not like hey, this is weird. Smell that.
Yes.
Yeah, I was just gonna say,
Smell
every
that.
time I come up to him and say, "Hey, smell my finger,"
Yeah.
he's never done it.
No,
Not once.
It's a perception. If you said I just stuck my finger in a blueberry pie, I might.
I don't think it.
I
I
still
don't think you do
smell
it.
it.
But is that a euphemism? Is what you have to wonder.
I don't know. No.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
That's a good point.
Right.
Found my thrills on Blueberry
oh,
Hill.
that's true. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah. Sorry. I should have picked a different fruit, maybe. I don't know.
I don't know. You could. There's a
Anything
euphemism for any fruit.
Any kind of pie.
Yeah.
Pie. Anyway.
All pie is good pie.
Yeah. Pie's better than cake. Do we all agree?
Hell yeah. Is the Pope Catholic?
Nobody does go to the bathroom in the woods.
Does a one-legged duck swim in circles?
I suppose so. Yeah, no, I don't know. There's some really intense chocolate cakes that I've had in my life that might be better than some pies. That's it.
I try not to discriminate when it comes to dessert.
All right, let me preface it then.
Equal opportunity desserter.
All right.
Yeah, exactly.
$10 pie versus $10 cake.
Oh, well, that's different.
Oh, $10 pie, no doubt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, you have to get up into that $30, $40 echelon
Right, to get
before.
it for a good cake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
because I think pies top out. I mean, can you really? You know, pie's kind of an everyman food.
Right.
Cakes
yeah,
are more
You're not going to get people paying $40. If you are, send them my way. I mean, $40 for a pie.
Well, let me tell you something about pies.
Okay.
You're going to get a good pie is going to be at least $15 of ingredients.
Really?
Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
Trust
that's
me for the pie guy.
You're making a single pie though.
Yeah, but
If you're making them in bulk.
I know.
Is that because
but,
of the 6-pack of beer he drank while he was making the pie?
no, like fresh fruit's kind of expensive.
That's you're making one.
Yeah.
You're making one pie. If you were doing it commercially,
Oh well, no.
your prices would go down.
No, I've baked.
We're talking
pie.
across the shelf. We're not talking homemade.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
And you don't have
Yeah,
any
we're not talking about your gold-plated pies, Kennedy.
Yeah. Okay.
gilded pie.
Yeah.
Gilded pie. There's a band name in there somewhere.
Yeah, there we go.
And they're gonna be
Not
playing
humble
it.
pie, anyway. I guess.
Yeah, they're gonna be playing at Stu's Brews soon. So I'm excited about that.
Perfect.
Okay. All right. Well, what else do we need to talk about? Catherine, what are you gonna do for your birthday?
Well,
It's a
I'm
big one
off,
this year, right?
So I'm gonna do my.
Oh, what?
What just happened?
She's already
What
been
was-
doing it. She's fall off her chair.
What just happened?
I don't know. Something fell off the wall.
Redecorated?
Yeah. I'm not gonna do it. I still have 4 kids, so. And
Excuse me?
It's a school day, so I'm just gonna pick my
4?
kids. I have 4 children.
She said
yes.
4.
I'm gonna pick them up from school, and Jason has to work tonight, so I'll probably, I don't know, make some macaroni and cheese. I'm not doing anything great, but on Saturday, we are going to this really awesome hot dog place called the Dog Father, which I'm real excited about.
Ooh, that's
Oh, probably great.
Yeah. And they just got craft beer there, so I can't wait to see what
Oh,
they're
nice.
Yeah.
Yeah. Now, this is in what part of San Antonio?
This is gonna be almost downtown. It's like San Pedro area,
sure.
almost
Okay.
park, kind of. Yeah.
Yeah.
Excited.
Dogfather.
Well, enjoy. And what a gentleman is not supposed to ask, but what birthday is this?
This is 39. This is
Oh, wow.
How many
I know.
39s have you had?
oh no, listen, next year is when I'll start
I'm still
buying.
having them.
Yeah. It hits you though. This is the first birthday where I woke up and I was like, oh wow, because I remember my mom being 39. You know what I mean? Like that's what it hits you.
Oh yeah. Ooh,
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and let me just give you a hint. It doesn't get any better.
I'm sure.
Tell me about it.
Yeah.
Okay.
No, but it's as at least for me anyway. As I have moved on, I have always hated birthdays just because of that.
Yeah.
Don't want to tell anybody about my birthday, et
I'm the
cetera,
same
et
way.
cetera. But at the same time, it's like, if we all told people our age that actually we felt we were, it'd be a whole different world.
Oh yeah. Well, then I'm 12.
Exactly. Yeah, I'm 17.
Yeah.
Perfect.
I'm like
Yeah.
14.
Seriously, how many moments in life? Like I thought when you became an adult, you figured it out, but every day I'm like, I don't.
I tell
You
you
let
what,
me
when,
know.
Shrug.
when I wake up and I feel like my teenager is a better, more responsible person than me, I'm like, okay,
Yeah, there's a
that
lot.
really hits home.
A lot
That
of
really hits
shrugging.
home.
A lot of shrugging.
Yeah.
You know what though? One thing I figured out, like the 20s are basically garbage, right?
Yeah.
Okay, being a kid is fine. Being a kid is fine. It's not as fun as being an adult, but being a kid is fine. You don't have any response. The 20s, you don't know anything.
No, you're so stupid.
You're so stupid, right? You don't.
Yeah.
You know, they're probably off. I don't know how many
spend
20-year-olds do we have watching right now? I don't know.
I don't know, but
Probably
you spent the whole 20s making bad decisions.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No,
Yeah.
at least I did.
Yeah. And so it takes a good
Yeah.
decade.
So you're saying when I was 25 and started my first beer company, that was a bad decision.
You were ahead of your time. You're ahead of your time.
Yeah.
In my
You're better.
stupidity.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, when you think about the odds that were stacked against you at the time, who opened a brewery in
You know
Texas?
That's how stupid I had to be, honestly.
We needed your stupidity.
Yeah,
It helped
never,
us all.
Honestly, it never crossed my mind.
I'm sure a lot
like-
of people told you
Well,
that
of
was a
course
bad
not, 'cause
decision.
You were 25. When you're 25,
Exactly.
everything's gonna work.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh man, thank goodness for that.
Well, seriously, how when you said that out loud, did anybody just like slap you right then? Like, what, or did they just laugh? What was the reaction when you were telling people you're going to
Well,
open a
I
brewery?
saw again a quick story. I was working on Capitol Hill at the time. My degree was government and international affairs. The guy that I was working for had won the governor's office in Louisiana. Well, great guy, actually an honest Louisiana politician, believe it or not.
So
but,
it wasn't David Duke.
No, it was not. It was actually the guy. So David, so you're going to get me to go tangential here. David Duke and Edwin Edwards, who was the crook, who had been indicted 27 times and been in prison twice. So in Louisiana, it's an open primary. So you had Buddy Romer, my boss, David Duke, and Edwin Edwards all running together in the initial election. Well, the undervote for David Duke, which nobody talked about, was large enough that it ended up being Edwards and Duke in the final election. So Buddy got bumped out after his first time in office. And there were bumper stickers in Louisiana that said, "Vote for the crook. It's important." So,
Wow.
yeah. Well, that's Louisiana. But anyway, what the hell was I talking about?
When you're opening a brewery.
Yeah, that's right. So Buddy Romer's walking down the hall in Congress after he's won the governor's office, and I said, "Well, Davis, what are you going to do?" This is again in actually going into late '86, and I said, "Well, buddy, I've had this idea I've wanted to do for a while. I'm going to go back to Austin and start my own beer company." And he literally stops dead in the middle of the hall and just looks at me and goes, "Well, good for you." And that was it. It's like drop the mic, walk off.
That's the worst comment ever.
Yeah, it was like, yeah, what are you gonna? It was like, it wasn't like, but at least it wasn't like, well, you're a dumbass.
Well, that's true.
But no, when I came back home and then started putting it together, I do remember like at my apartment complex where I was living at the time, I told this woman about it out by the pool one Sunday afternoon, and before I was married, so it was okay. I told her, what I was doing, and I just expected to get a positive response. And she was like, "Well, I don't think that's going to work." And I was like, "Oh, wow, okay. Well, and I didn't really, it's like, okay, that was the first negative feedback I'd gotten at all. I was like, oh, whatever. So anyway, I went on about it. And then I had a conversation with a guy named Dan Brown of actually Brown Distributing, who's our distributor now. And this is back again, 1987. And I just wanted to talk to somebody who'd been in the business for a while. And Dan says, "Well, actually, I think it's a good idea." He goes, "I think that's something interesting." And I thought, "Oh, well, that's really cool. This guy who's been in the beer business forever says that." And he goes, "But I can't have anything to do with you." And I'm like, "Well, oh no." He goes, "Well, no. He goes, "My job's to put you out of business." And I was like, "What?" And he goes, "Son, water is my competition." And that's just their attitude. Those old guys, those old beer distributors, that is their attitude. It's like, hey, if people drink it, it's my competition. Again, did that dissuade me? No. I kept right on going, and several months later we started Pecan Street Lager. Actually, and I can say I was 25 because literally we came out on the market the day before I turned 26.
Okay, cool.
So I just slid in under the wire there.
When you went to get your licensing, were they like, "Well, nobody's ever asked for one of those before. Here you go"? No,
because so that's what I say. That's when I say that Celis and I have Christine and I have our discussions about who was the first in Austin. We were contracting down at Shiner. So what my license actually was a distributor's license. So, which, and God knows, I feel evil just saying that. But no, so I had taken my beer recipe and gone down to Shiner, and this was before the current ownership, and said, "Hey guys, I'd like to, brew my beer in your place and figure out a way to do that. Are you guys interested in the extra capacity? You have extra capacity. You're interested in the extra production?" And they're like, "Sure, absolutely." And so yeah, that's what we did. I went down there and brewed with their guys and showed them what we were doing. Shiner, as you might imagine, back in the late '80s, was very old school. A lot of guys, old Czech guys that didn't really necessarily, they weren't specifically brewery educated. They knew how to do it because the guy before them showed them how to do it. And so there was a lot of like, I'd say, "Well, can we do this?" And they were like, "Well, I don't know if we can do that." But there was more of a, so you got to do that one with a sort of a German Czech accent, which I can't do. But so no, eventually we figured it out, and we wanted to raise the rakes during the mash process. They didn't do that. So I've just basically to get better extraction, et cetera. And so we finally figured it out. And so I would drive down there 3 a.m. and brew with their guys, make sure we'd gotten it into the cellar. And once it was into the fermenters, I'd come back a week later and we'd kreuzen, which is basically you're putting some fresh beer in on top of that to kick off some natural carbonation. Because we really wanted that soft character you get with more natural carbonation than the artificial carbonation. And then 3 weeks after that, I'd come back down with a U-Haul truck, and it'd be on the packaging line, and we'd load it up, and I'd drive it back to Austin, my warehouse, and then we'd throw it into the back of a CJ7 Jeep, and that was my delivery vehicle.
Nice.
And and go around to the different places to deliver the beer. And I was honestly, I know you're 25, right? What do you know? I was honestly shocked by the fact that people didn't want the beer. Well, how could you not? This is great beer. How could you not want this beer? And well, because we don't know what the hell it is and nobody's heard of it. But we actually did. It did catch on eventually, and I kept Pecan Street going on until we finally got brew pubs legalized in '93, and then opened up Copper Tank, and I kept Pecan Street going until '96, and then it was. Back then, so Chip, I don't even think Chip opened until '97 with Live Oak. So you'd have been, as we saw honestly with Pear Celis, you were committing commercial suicide to open a brewery before that time in Austin or in Texas in general. I mean, it just wasn't viable. And so once we got brew pubs legalized, I had been working for that since '87. As soon as I came back to Austin, not only did I start Pecan Street, I started working on lobbying the legislature to get brew pubs legalized, and then Billy Forrester was actually able to get it done. I'd kind of given up, honestly, but yeah. So once we got brew pubs legalized, I like, okay, boom, that's what I'm doing. I knew that's where I was going, and so that's how I got my, if you want to say, official start in the Austin beer market was in '93 with Copper Tank.
Yeah, that's a cool story. If I had a time machine, those are the moments I'd go back and check out. Like, walk in at 3:05 a.m. At the Shiner Brewery. Hey, can I just hang out? That's what I'd do.
Yeah.
And then I'd go
a little bit, yeah. No, I mean, it was honestly, it was interesting. It was important that I was there because the guys would want to revert back to sort of the way they were used to doing things. And so I had to be, really diligent about making sure, no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to make the transfer then. We need to make sure, we're getting high kreuzen, et cetera. And so, it was great. I mean, and I'm still friends with John Hebner today. He's now retired as the former brewmaster at Shiner, but great old guy, again, an old Czech guy, and just as nice as could be, and don't ever play poker with him.
Yeah. Did they just eat kolaches every meal? Was that the?
Well, it's possible. I don't want to comment on Hebner's size, but it's possible.
Did you guys notice during the Super Bowl? There's a Shiner commercial.
I heard.
I don't know that I saw it.
Yeah, there's a Shiner commercial during the Super Bowl.
I watched the thing pillar to post, but I don't know if I saw it.
Yeah, it was.
Yeah, it's spot market is what they call it. So it only played in Texas.
Yeah.
It's a regional spot.
But I did also hear it was $1 million.
Like
300,000.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
It's a lot.
For that spot.
For what? For 30 seconds or something? Or
Yeah,
a minute?
it was a 30-second spot.
Yeah. Now, I have to ask, was it a good commercial?
I don't even remember seeing it.
It was kind of like a retro-looking commercial where it talked about how they used to distribute their beers in the back of a hearse.
Well, that spot's been out though. They didn't do a new spot. I've seen that before.
That's what the spot was during the Super Bowl. Yeah.
Oh, that one's been out. The one where they put it in the hearse and take it back to Austin.
That was the spot there.
I'm not sure you want to talk about your beer being delivered in a hearse. I mean, it sort of indicates where you're going as a brewery, maybe. I don't know.
Yeah.
Well,
and I love Shiner. I mean, they've done they've done really well with their craft style beers. I'm not a Shiner Bock fan, but as far as their black lager, great. Their Oktoberfest every year is always really nice. So they've done a good job. I think it's just difficult for them to compete when if we're going hyper local, guess who's not hyper local?
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So
True.
So when's the bar opening?
What's today? It's
Tomorrow.
Thursday. I need to write down a plan. I need to give myself a date. Did you when you set up your plans for North by? Did you give yourself a hard date and say we're going to do it by this time?
Sure.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah, we didn't do it, but yeah.
Okay. The only thing I'm lacking is land and funding and expertise. And other than that, I'm good. I mean,
Then you're good. You're good to go.
Just money.
You're good to go. That's right.
yeah,
That's right.
that's the only thing I'm.
And you can't imagine the number of brewers that are actually even guys that are actually open now. Who my first conversation with them was, well, how's the fundraising going? They're going, well, we don't have any money raised yet, but.
Yeah. So, I mean, other than those things, other than the money and the place and the plan, I mean, it's gangbusters. So,
Yeah. Well, I mean, you're already making money then.
yeah. Yeah.
At least you're not losing any yet. So
That's true. I haven't. I know I'm going to do this show from there. For the most part.
absolutely. Yeah, you got to do that. Yeah.
Yeah. So.
On your like Thursday evenings or
Yeah.
maybe Friday evening even maybe or Saturday morning really early, like open up at 6.
Yeah.
There you go.
Oh, there we go.
Or every day for lunch.
I don't know. I haven't decided how we're going to work it in, but it's again, the plan is a little hazy.
Hazy. Yeah. Then you're going to be serving some New England IPAs, then I guess.
Yes. Everything's hazy. Yeah. Okay. So anniversary coming up soon, right, Davis? It's
Yeah, not far away. So we'll be 19 years old in September. So not too far away. Yeah. I mean, now is it September? Yeah. September 19th for North by 99 is when we opened up.
okay.
So so it's funny I say that. We're in what month we were in February, so I guess it is a ways away.
Yeah.
But it's not too far. It's funny though, you have to start planning things in advance these days. We're already talking about the anniversary beer, which I cannot reveal what that's going to be for the 19th anniversary. The 20th has got to be, I don't know what the heck we're going to do for the 20th, but something fun, I'm sure.
Okay.
The cool thing that now that we'll be out in the market is that we can do things like release those beers into the market and my goal really is I want to do stuff that's very limited, sort of less accessible than more accessible. So we've got an opportunity to have a whole lot of fun with the new canning line. So we plan on doing that.
Cool. I'm excited. I'm excited to be able to get some of that and take it back to the pool at my in-laws' house, and take a little North by with me to the Round Rock area.
A little of that North by Gemütlichkeit.
Yes, that's another working title I had, but my wife just looked at me and just shook her head when I said, we could name it, Gemütlichkeit, and she's like, no, that's the sign.
No, I will tell you. So Don, our head of brewery operations, their brewery was called Reinheitsgebot Brewing. It's like, guys, it was 1982. What the hell were you thinking?
It's a good thought.
Yeah.
Maybe not.
It's a good thought. I mean, you should lay down and let the feeling go away.
Yeah, no, that's true. But that's I talk about that term all the like. That's what I want to convey, right? Just a little bit of that. So.
Yeah, well, no, you're right. You're right on. I mean, if that's your goal, you're on the right track. I mean, honestly, if you can make everybody's day just a little bit better when they walk in and out of your doors.
Yeah,
you're doing the right
Well, that's
thing.
what you do. I want to be like you when I grow up.
No, you don't.
I mean, you think about. I mean, let me get a little. Up there a little bit. But you think about what you do with your brew pub when people come in, families, maybe with the first time they get to go out, they just had a baby. First eat that time you get to go out as a couple with your new baby.
Yeah, Catherine.
Yeah, or that celebrating whatever birthday, Catherine, whatever. Just that family time together that you get to sit down and have those moments, and you're facilitating that. I mean, that's a pretty awesome
That's
thing.
true, and I do appreciate that because that was one of the things. It took me about, I think, 4 years at the original North by before I could settle in enough to go, oh, okay, I think we're going to make it. And then we already, I could have stopped worrying after year one, but I was never sure.
Mm-hmm.
But one day walking through the restaurant, literally walking around the corner, down the steps, around the corner, heading into the brewery door, there's a table of 4 guys, and they are laughing their asses off. And I thought, it's the first time it struck me, wow, you know what? I'm part of that.
Mm-hmm.
I'm actually part of, whatever they're talking about, whatever they're laughing about, they're doing it in my place, and they're having beers, and they're enjoying themselves. And so I felt like, okay, now I know, honestly, why I'm in this business.
Yeah.
Before, I loved the beer side, and all that kind of thing. But now I knew to be successful long-term, I felt like I needed to be a good restaurant that made great beer. But when I heard those guys cracking up and having a good time, that's when okay, now I really understand what it is this is about.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah, that's the big stuff. That's Yeah, that changes lives. I mean, I know it gets a little heady or whatever, Catherine. I'm sorry, I get there.
Yeah, but it
sometimes.
does. We've had people have their first date at North by, who then got engaged at North by, who then got married at North by.
Very nice.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go.
And now the way I'm waiting until we have somebody whose kid gets married at North by, who met at North by, because at 18 it's getting on up there.
Yeah.
I ran into a former hostess for us at a pint night up at the big pub in Cedar Park, and this girl goes, "You may not remember me, but my name is Vanessa." And I said, "Hey," and I did. It's like, "You were the girl that was pregnant?" And she goes, "Yeah." And she goes, "I just wanted to tell you thanks, because this was back in the day before Obamacare, et cetera, but she got pregnant and she didn't have insurance. It was like, let's figure out a way." And so we put her on the insurance. Don't tell anybody, but without telling anybody she was pregnant, because that pre-existing condition
Right.
thing. And so she got covered, and she said, her daughter is now 18 years old.
Wow.
And it was just, I guess, 17 years old. Because I even asked her, this is how slow on the uptake I am. I was like, well, how old is your daughter now? And she looked at me, she's like, 17. Because that's how long ago she was pregnant. But, I should have figured that out, because that's how long North by had been around.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, so you get those little moments of, family. And that's it's very cool.
That's awesome.
That is cool, and that's what it's all about. And that's why we do. That's why we do this show too, Davis. We want to
Cool.
facilitate a little bit of that right here on your Facebook or Periscope feed, right, Catherine? That's
right. Absolutely.
Well, cool. Well, I appreciate watching the show. I mean, it said, and people when you have people like Chip on, especially. I mean, Chip's always worth a look. He's almost always going to say something provocative, interesting, funny, et cetera, et cetera. So.
That's true. That's so true. Well, we appreciate you taking a look. Even if it's just for, we have enough train wrecks on here where that's worth a look for too. That's things come crashing
So
down.
okay, you've been doing this 6 years now, is that right?
Well, my personal podcast is 6 years. Liquid Lunch is we're coming up on 2 years, like in the summer.
Coming up on 2 years. Yeah.
Yeah. So
79 episodes.
Yeah.
Best show, worst show.
Best show, this one by far.
Oh yeah.
I mean, when you talk about
Slam dunk.
technically speaking, it might be as far as like everything working correctly.
Yeah.
That's,
Okay.
it's an
Nothing to
amazing.
do with the guests.
Yeah, I'm
but
surprised
I can
how
do that, yeah.
Well, no, David, by far. I was gonna say you don't have to. Come on. But when you talk about like what we're able to do technologically speaking, Catherine's sitting in San Antonio. You're in your restaurant in Austin. We're here in Houston. We have guests on from Dallas all the time, and people commenting and watching,
And all of us are on the screen at the same time.
look at that. Kennedy makes all that happen.
Is that Kennedy that hasn't moved the whole time I've been sitting here? Is that,
Yeah,
that's Kennedy there?
that's
Yeah.
he's
There, I'm moving.
there.
He's just
No,
staring at you.
no, in the time
I'm, I'm captivated.
yeah, he's just super enthralled with everything. Worst show? I don't know what the worst show would be.
We've had
Yeah,
lots of worst shows.
It's not about it, like,
We've
I'm
had a
trying to
few
think.
doozies.
Anybody that was just? Did you have anybody that just wouldn't talk?
Oh, well, I love brewers, but sometimes you get one that you're like, okay, I need for you to. This is an interview, so you're gonna have to give me a little something.
It's a two-way street here, right?
Yeah.
No, I don't
They
know.
just ask questions and drop silent.
Yeah, it's like, how did you come about opening a brewery? Oh, really like beer. I just had beer.
Well, you know,
Well, we've also had some really bad shows that are plagued by technical difficulties.
Yeah, if you throw those out, the 17 we've had that haven't,
and pretty much unwatchable. We've had a few of those.
it's a weird thing to have to go back and edit when you watch all those old shows.
But we've learned since then.
We've learned a lot,
Yeah.
and Davis. I mean, it's when we have people of your ilk on our show, I watch it and I'm like, oh my god, that just happened. We had Davis Tucker on our show.
it's funny. Well, I appreciate that. I mean, it's this life in the craft brew world has been certainly very good to me, but not even, it's not so much even from the financial standpoint. It's just been a blast to see what's happened and to be a part of it. And there was about 5 years where I call them the lost years, where I sort of took a break from all the stuff. I didn't go to GABF because it's like, God, I've been to GABF 100 times. Oh, do I really want to go? But then it literally was like, oh crap! I started talking to brewers, and fortunately we've been doing Brewers Night in Austin forever and ever and ever. And it was like I started going to Brewers Night and started learning a whole lot about what was happening, because that's when, really the new hop crazes started coming in and things started changing. I thought, I need to get back into the swim here and find out what's going on. So I started going back to GABF and seeing everything that's happening. And we were one of the first, even at North by this, we're barrel aging in Texas with the Blackjack, our black ale that's aged in the Jack Daniel's barrels. And that, I thought back then that was adventurous. Now with what's happening, it's just amazing. So I'm particularly happy to be still in this business and still be around and see what's happening and also get to participate in all the new stuff that's going on.
Yeah, and it just keeps going. It's never like you see a trend and you're like, oh well, we've reached the end of it, but there's always something new.
Yeah.
Always something new.
And really, exactly. Who knows where it's going to be? I do believe that we have all hit on it though. That it's it's just going to keep going more local. So I think if anybody has the idea that they're going to start up and be a new regional successful brewery, I wouldn't count on it. You better be able to survive not only in your own backyard, but literally in your own backyard, like in your tap room. If you can make your living off your tap room sales and everything else is gravy, good for you, because that's I think the survival model for the future in craft brewing in general.
Yeah, that's consensus I get from asking around. Different. Yeah, absolutely. So
well, there's only so much shelf space. You can't. There's only so many tap handles. You're going to get yours every once in a while, but the majority of your business better be right there from your buddies who come down to your place to drink beer when you open up, but the guys that are walking down the street to the local brewery for their beer.
Yeah. Yep. Well, with that, I think we'll wrap it up here. We've been going an hour and a half, and it's been a lot. Yeah. No, I mean we could keep going, but. Kennedy just ran to the restroom. Are you better now?
Man, I've been holding that for a while.
You should go before we start.
I did. I've drank a few beers though.
Like a toddler.
I broke the seal.
Would it be inappropriate? I mean, when I was a kid, Mom just tossed the Coke bottle into the back seat of the station wagon and said, "We're not stopping."
That's the road trip bathroom.
I don't trust his aim. It's here in this. we have a rug down.
It'd be fine.
Maybe if we put I don't know.
Clean up on aisle 5.
Yeah, I don't know.
We do have a matter to discuss though.
We do? Oh, what?
With the Super Bowl?
Oh,
we had a little bet.
Yeah, we did. Yeah, we made a bet last week. I let Kennedy pick his team. I was like, whoever you want, and he was like hesitant. I'm like, well, you want the Patriots? They're the favorite. He's like, yeah, all right, I'll take the Patriots.
No, I didn't want the Eagles.
You didn't want okay. But I was like, I'll take them then. That's fine. And it paid off. So winner, chicken dinner right here. We bet a bottle of Jester King, right?
No. We bet a bottle of whatever.
Oh, I thought we said Jester King.
I heard Jester King.
That's good. Good to have backup.
Thank you. We can go back and look at the recording. It's all there. So if you brought me a beer, I'll take it. But if it's not what we bet on.
I didn't bring you a bottle of Jester King.
So I guess I get two.
I did bring you something.
Penalty. What'd you bring?
All right. Hold on.
You got to bring it?
Yeah.
What we got?
All right. So what I got for you is this.
We need a drum roll. I don't have a. Oh yeah, I do.
I got you a apricot petite golden sour, which by the way you cannot get here in Houston.
You can't?
No, you have to you have to be at the brewery to get it.
Oh. Okay.
So, there you go.
Cool.
Apricot petite golden sour from Collective Brewery.
Should I let him off the hook? What do y'all think? Should this?
Is this a Kansas beer?
No, this is from
Collective.
Oh, from Collective. Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
you can give it back.
This is just a down payment.
Yeah, it really is.
You know what? You can give it back to me.
No.
And I'll get you a Jester King next week.
No.
You can't give gifts and then take them back.
No. Yeah, this is.
And you also, you didn't pay when it was owed, so you owe interest. So
there you go. So in your own interest, you should.
So you have to give.
Well, I just want you. I pay my debts on. Like I have some coworkers that I've had a few bets with.
So you're waiting.
Some beer bets that I'm still waiting on.
You need to press those accounts. You need to lean on them a little bit.
Are you regifting beer?
No. When I was at the Collective Brewing Project a few weeks ago, I picked up a bunch of beer and
you're paying out, so you're a bad gambler, is what you're saying?
Well,
you have beer coming to you.
I'm a horrible gambler.
Okay,
horrible. That's why I don't do it.
Well,
me gambling is just me giving away money.
Okay, we'll break kneecaps after the show. We won't do that here on the live stream.
No, you got your beer. If you really want Jester King, I will gladly take that.
Well,
back
that's what the
and-
bet was
I don't
for.
know.
And
Yeah,
bring
I
you
don't know
another one
if
next
really
week.
wants it, but that's what the bet was.
That's what the bet was. There's that.
Well, you know what? I don't remember. I remember we bet a beer.
It's recorded.
I'm hearing two witnesses say it was Jester King, so I think you gotta go with that.
We got video footage.
But I do have to comment on. You said you're going to break kneecaps. My wife and I have a date night tonight, and we're going to go see I, Tonya. So.
Oh.
I want to see that so bad. I watched the documentary that leads up to it, and I'm just like on pins and needles. I can't wait. That actually was going to be what I was going to ask Jason to give me for my birthday, because we don't do big gifts, but I thought I want to go see that movie.
Right. So for your kneecap breaking, you might go to get some tips by watching the movie. So.
Yeah.
I just want to hear Kennedy scream, "Why me? Why me?"
Yeah. And well, I mean, it's the Winter Olympics is starting now too, so perfect timing. Perfect timing. There you go. I see it on the screens.
Well, guys,
back
thank you. Thank you so much for having me here. I mean, this has been a pleasure and an honor, and I look forward to another 18 years in the business. Maybe, I don't know.
Yeah.
We'll see where I am when I'm. I think that'll put me at 103. So
I'm right behind you.
There you go.
Cool.
But yeah, I'm happy, and the things you guys do. I mean, it's important. It's important to the business. So I'm happy that these kinds of podcasts are going on.
Well, it's our honor to have you on, and just thank you so much for taking the time, hour and a half.
And you're welcome back anytime.
Yeah.
Well, thanks very much. So what's tomorrow? Good. Yeah, no. But yeah, I do want to. If you guys, I don't know how all the technology of this stuff works, but I would like the closing thought for all the brewers in the state of Texas to be what I said earlier, which is, guys, we got a good thing going. Don't fuck it up.
Yeah.
All right, that's great.
Yeah.
All right, everybody, that's gonna be a bit of a wrap. I don't know if I have to play the whole song. We have a little bit of an outro song. It's a little. It probably should be shorter, right? So we don't have moments like this where I'm like talking about how long the song is.
Or could you start the song halfway through?
Well, it was a dramatic moment. Davis was saying what he's saying. Anyway.
Now it's going to be awkward.
Yeah, it's going to be a long. We'll just sit here and blink at the.
It's going to be a really awkward.
So,
yeah.
Do I have 3 seconds?
You got as much. Yeah.
You got a lot of time.
You go find the Pointer Sisters. It's called "I Know We Can."
Okay.
And that's our theme song these days. Is "I Know We Can" for North by Northwest.
There we go.
Good song. If you Google it on, first thing will pop up will be their appearance on Soul Train.
Oh, nice.
Doing "I Know We Can."
Yeah. When can we see your beers on shelves in the Austin area?
We like to say April 1st, and we'll be free all day.
Okay.
But HEB didn't think that would be very funny for them to have to explain to the customers. So it's April Fool's on that. But no, first part of April.
All right.
The 1st of April. You should see us in better stores and markets in the Austin area come the first week of April.
All right.
Awesome.
Well, ladies and gentlemen, make your trips to Austin if you're not there already. North by Northwest in cans now. You can go and enjoy it there inside, and then take that memory with you, and just relive it.
Share a little love with your friends.
Yeah, right. Nothing wrong with that. And Catherine Contreras, the birthday girl, happy birthday.
Happy 29.
Yeah.
Hey,
Happy birthday.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Thanks, guys.
So
Absolutely.
may you
So
have.
it's a great life. Keep enjoying it.
Yeah,
I
right.
will. Thank you. I do have a great life. We all do.
Yeah. So check out cans. Check out the crowdfunding as well for the all that stuff. North by Northwest, all over the internet.
That's North. That's a WeFunder/NXNW.
There you go. And check them out on Instagram too. They're always putting stuff out. It's a good way.
Now, James Dean, who's not dead yet.
No,
he's a phenomenal guy on our social media.
He's doing great. And join us right here next week. We'd be remiss if we didn't thank our sponsors, Barbacoa Apparel.
All right. Thank you.
Yeah. Get some of those T-shirts and goods and can you see the stickers behind me? That sort of thing.
Yes.
All kinds of good stuff. The Grain Cellar, Humble's premier homebrew store. Preston I think they were doing a brew in today or something. But anyway, check them out. Get your stuff ready. The spring will be a perfect time. Valentine's Day present. Homebrew, stuff would be great. And check out our Amazon link if you want to help support the show. Go to liquidlunchshow.com/Amazon. Anything you buy gives a little bit of love to us too. So that'll help us.
Right, and just real fast, you guys. On Sunday, I'll be at Cactus Land recording, so come see me. We're
First-
gonna do a Valentine's special.
For She's Crafty. She's Crafty episode. New episode's
Right.
coming soon. And yeah, so check that out. And new episodes of Interbrews coming. I'm doing 2 next week. So busy week next week. All right, everybody. Happy weekend. And we'll see y'all next week right here on Liquid Lunch. Thanks, Davis. This was great.
Thanks, guys.
Good job,
Keep
Kennedy.
on brewing.
Yeah, do that.
Hooray! Hip hip hooray! Hooray for beer!